the presence of God as God actually is too much for us in this life. If you experience the raw encounter. Now, some people came close to it, if you recall your Hebrew Bible. Jacob, as you know, wrestled with the angel or vice versa, and he came out somewhat crippled from the encounter, but incredibly enriched. So that this wrestling with God is a symbol of the interior struggle as to how to deal with the majesty, awesome character of that which is, without any limitation of any kind in any direction. We're dealing with isness, or even that is a little misleading because God is not a noun, but something that is always happening. God is sheer action as well as rest. He's always saying one infinite word that contains all knowledge and all reality, but silently, or in a great silence, so that whatever you say about God, you have to be prepared to affirm the opposite. So by the time you've negotiated that for a while, you finally, like Jacob, ask for God's blessing and go on your way. Because there is no answer to the problems of life except God as God's self is. It's the answer to every question, and there is no final answer to any other question. Who is God? Because if you find that out, you will know who you are. And if you know who you are, you may be surprised to find that you are God too, by participation. And that ultimately God is all in all, and is inviting us with his incredible hospitality to enjoy not only all the good things of creation, but to enjoy the Creator itself. And I might just add here, what does a host really want of the guests at a great banquet? Not money. They could go to a restaurant and do that. What most hosts do, and I imagine that's your disposition also if you throw a party, what gives you pleasure is that the guests have a good time, that they enjoy the party. That's the reward of the one who throws the banquet. And so gratitude is very close to humility and was one of the fundamental dispositions that facilitates, or you might say greases, the machinery, if we can use that term, of this adventure into the source and the mystery of life in all the way that it manifests itself and functions, which are infinite, literally, if infinitude can be literal. In any case, what do you do if you're confronted with the mysterium tremendum, however friendly it may sound? It's because that's only half of the phrase. The other half that was cherished in the Middle Ages is, in Latin, et, which means and, fascinans. That is to say, absolutely irresistible. So that we find ourselves as a very developed, yet not fully developed expression of the goodness of God. We find ourselves irresistibly attracted to something that is absolutely terrifying at the same time. Now, what do you do with that? This is called the spiritual journey. And humility is not just a remembering of our faults and our failures, which is usually a lament because we don't measure up to our idealized image of ourselves, which is not really worth pursuing anyway. It's rather this awareness that we're nothing in relationship to that which is, and have been called out of the mysterious silence of God that contains all possibilities, and are invited to participate in the most intimate way in a plan of saving the most unlikely race of creatures that you could possibly imagine. We're the least intellectual of all creatures, as far as we know, at least in embodied creatures. And now that science has graciously helped us out with all kinds of information about how the universe works and how life emerges and how it seems to be moving towards ever greater complexity and spirituality, these ideas are extremely important for contemporary spirituality in every religion.